The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Tuesday, the 8th day of July 2025. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindos, People's Pharmacy, and HSBC. A big thank you to them for ensuring that we are able to pump through the radio airwaves on Hot 107.5 with these most important community conversations. I'm Jamal Hartman, and Maya Palacio will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in the news break brought to you by Peoples. How's everyone feeling today? It's Tuesday, another Tuesday in July. As you can see, I got my collars on. You know, I heard some great, well, not great news. Well, it is great news for St. George's fans, but I heard that some of our Somerset folks that are usually in the audience are not available to tune in as much during the summer. And that really makes my day because that means I can talk as much smack as I want without any back talk. So just want to say big up to St. George's fans all across Bermuda and those outside Bermuda as well. And, you know, I'm mature now, so I just want to say a happy Tuesday to Somerset fans. You know, no one's perfect, all right? No one is perfect, but yes, I am excited to be here, excited to, well, we've got Hedley and Swans as energetic and thankful she's feeling. I love it, love it, love it. That something tells me she loves her job. You know, not many people are feeling energetic until it gets to Friday Junior and then Friday. And then by the time Sunday comes, back to it. But anyway, greetings everyone. And thanks for making us part of your daily routine. Good one today as we welcome professional ice hockey player Blake. He's a champion too. We're going to talk about that. Blake Montgomery onto the show. We're going to be discussing his journey. You know, a fella with Bermudian roots, right? Not the ocean, not water, but the ice hockey rink. I'm looking forward to this conversation. The daily play is a remember when today. So a bit of history. It's almost multiple choice, so it should be easy. Everyone should get this. Don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. All right, we have a very serious conversation to have before we jump in for a very exciting guest in Blake Montgomery to speak about his journey. There was something that happened this weekend. The question of the morning is going to be very simple. What concerns you most about this story on TNN about a property connected to the Commissioner of Police being a hideout spot for a person of interest? And just a yes or no, do you trust the media, right? And that question, we'll put the QR code up. You can go, if you prefer to be anonymous, you can just click that QR code. We'll put the link in the comments as well. So for those of you who, you know, prefer to keep your response anonymous, we'll put that in the link in the comments, so you can just click that link. Or if, again, this is for those who are tuned in via stream. Obviously those who are listening via radio, you would have to be on stream, but for those in stream, you can click the link in the comments if you're on our website, thedailyhour.com, YouTube, or Facebook. If you are looking at the screen right now, whatever platform you are on, you can just you know, scan the QR code and go to answer the question. And the question is, do you trust the media? Yes or no? All right, so let's get to it this morning. So for those who don't know what we're talking about, Trevor Lindsay, our good friend over there at TNN, he put out a story on Sunday. and said suspected murderer apprehended on property tied to police commissioner. And said, breaking news, the Bermuda Police Service on Friday confirmed the apprehension of Jeremiah Tyrrell, the suspect wanted in connection with the May 1st Legends murder, a tragic incident in which 5 individuals were shot, resulting in 2 fatally. Since the night of that mass shooting, police have launched an island-wide manhunt and repeatedly asked the public for assistance in locating Tyrrell. After 2 months on the run, the suspect was discovered hiding in a remote shed located in Hamilton Parish. What TNN has discovered now is deeply troubling. The property where Tyrrell was discovered belongs to none other than the commissioner of police and his brother, in which the commissioners resides on the estate. The revelation has sent shockwaves across the island and raised a series of urgent and unanswered questions. How was a murder suspect able to hide, possibly for weeks, on the property of the island's highest ranking law enforcement official or officer? Who brought him there? Who was helping him survive? And more critically, who treated his injuries? Tyrrell was reportedly suffering from a gunshot wound believed to be sustained during the May 1st incident. CNN has learned from credible sources that the bullet was removed from Tyrrell's body at some point prior to his arrest. This indicates someone with medical knowledge likely assisted him while he was in hiding. The level of access needed to place and sustain someone on that specific parcel of land also raises red flags. This was not a random hiding spot. It is believed that someone with intimate knowledge of the property facilitated his presence there. TNN reached out to the Commissioner of Police, Darren Simons, with key queries. 1, was he aware that Jeremiah Tyrrell was on the property? 2, if not, when did he become aware? 3, who had access to this property in recent weeks? And 4, why was no public statement issued acknowledging the suspect's capture on the police commissioner's owned land? Well, the response via the Bermuda Police Service from the Commissioner of Police says, I am simply not connected in any way to the harboring or care of the recently arrested man. While it is true that the property where he was found belongs to my family, I had no involvement in his presence there. The original TNN report falsely claimed that I reside on the premises. That is untrue. The property in question is separate, overgrown, underdeveloped land that has been in my family for generations. I do not live there, nor do I frequent the property. Once informed of this fact, the report was revised to claim that I reside on the estate, clearly intended to preserve a misleading narrative. I do not reside at that property. This investigation continues to be handled by serious crime officers, which have complete operational independence to investigate any and all circumstances of the suspect's arrest. And I do not wish to compromise this serious ongoing investigation. However, I cannot allow baseless insinuations that harm the public's confidence in the police to go unanswered. TNN responded saying, TNN acknowledges the public statement made by Commissioner of Police Darren Simons in reference to our report issued yesterday morning concerning the discovery of Jeremiah Tyrrell, an individual sought by police since May 1st. TNN stands firmly by the facts presented in our original story. Our report stated that Jeremiah Tyrrell was discovered on the property / estate of the Commissioner of Police, specifically a property connected to the Commissioner and a relative. At no point did TNN News suggest, imply, or infer that Commissioner Simons was harboring the individual, had any prior knowledge of his presence, or assisted in concealing him in any way. Those words were never written, said, or insinuated in any portion of our coverage. What was reported and what remains fact is that the individual was discovered in an abandoned lot located on the commissioner's estate within a few hundred yards of the commissioner's residence. TNN News will clarify the one change in the previous story was the word estate and property. In general, an estate refers to all persons' assets, including property, 2 words with the same meaning. As members of the media, our responsibility is to report truth based on verified information. We maintain the information presented in our initial story was accurate and responsibly reported. The question still remains is why didn't the commissioner proactively disclose the property connection when the arrest was made? Why wasn't a statement released immediately to address concerns of conflict of interest, transparency, and accountability? And most importantly, who will be held accountable for harboring a fugitive on such a sensitive property? All right. I have a lot of concerns with this. I have a lot of concerns with this. A lot. A lot. I'm not trying to persuade people either way, anyway. Let me begin by saying this. I have a lot of love for Trevor, a lot of respect for Trevor. You know, I think what Trevor does is necessary in our community, right? But sometimes, and we speak about accountability on this show a lot. Sometimes love comes with holding people accountable. Sometimes it means disagreeing with them. Mama used to say, I'm doing this because I love you, right? And while I appreciate that the public, probably has a right to know that the property is owned by the commissioner's family per the commissioner, I think the original story, if I'm not mistaken, when I read it, said the commissioner resided on the property. If in fact my memory serves me correctly, that would be inaccurate. The second thing is Trevor is a very smart person. To be able to do what he's done takes a certain level of intellect and ability and skill. And Trevor is smart enough to know one thing about many people who read TNN and the Royal Gazette. And that's the fact that people don't read. I was telling Maya earlier, I said, I saw a story the Royal Gazette had up last week about a death in the Cayman Islands. And someone responded on that story, basically stating, speaking of another corrupt person in Bermuda government or something like that. It had nothing to do with someone in the Bermuda government or civil or public service. As I read some of the comments in stories and under news stories, I'm left with a question. And one is actually more dangerous than the other. The first thing is, why don't people read beyond the headline? That's the first question. What's even more dangerous to me is if they do read beyond the headline, how are they not comprehending what's actually written in the story? Let me give you an example. Back in the day, we had to take the SATs. Anyone remember the SATs? The SATs were considered a biased test by the time I got to them. I don't even know if they're still required. But one thing I appreciated about the SATs is that it really did test your ability to comprehend. It wasn't just about reading something, but are you understanding what you're reading? And so when I say that Trevor is smart and understands and knows, what he's brilliant. But respectfully, the people who are reading his stuff may not be as brilliant. That's not shared. That's just my truth based on what I see. You see it on Magis lists. You see it in the stories underneath the Gazette. So I'm very careful in this show in terms of, I am not a journalist. I cannot stand the term interview when it comes to guest appearing on this show. Because I don't interview people. I have conversations with people. I facilitate conversations with people. I don't want to take on the responsibility of being a journalist because I have my biases. The show may not be biased, but I have my biases. And I'm very clear and direct and honest about my biases. But even in my bias, it's my responsibility to ensure that I'm speaking based on facts. You have the BTA who challenged me every step of the way about whether I was telling the truth or not numerous times. But they could never really prove I was lying because they knew I had facts. it's important for us, the community, because everything comes back to the community, to comprehend and digest. Because as in the Daily Hour group, someone said yesterday, we love a good story and running with it. But few of us love to digest things. I appreciate our news team, Maya and Teo and Simone. Why? Because if it's one thing I want to make sure of, we don't have to try to be first to anything. What we want to be is credible, right? We want to be credible. We want to be respectful. We want to be engaging. And we want to be trustworthy. So what concerns me about that report is, yes, maybe how it was reported, but it's how people perceive and take it. Our community functions. We're not an illiterate people, but sometimes we function on a very illiterate level. We are lazy. And I just want to share that, this is the commissioner's, this is the property or estate in question. Based on this picture, it doesn't look like anyone resides there. So the question, audience, again, do you trust the media? Do you trust the media? And the open question, what concerns you most about the story on TNN about a property connected to the Commissioner of Police being a hideout spot? This is your daily discussion brought to you by Titan Express and Secure Trucking. Suzanne Ingham says, I trust Trevor's media. Okay. Kenton Trott says, that's a trick question, Jamal. I trust the Daily Hour. Many others I don't. We appreciate you. Headley and Swan says, certain media. Absolutely not. Trevor Lindsay's news, definitely yes. Mind you, regardless of what's reported, I still see the particular commissioner of police a man of integrity. Suzanne Ingham says, all I see are red. When I read TNN's article, too many red. What are the red flags, though? What are the red flags? Let's have this. Let's talk this out. What are the red flags? What are the red flags? Because I'm going to give you all a scenario. Let's say you have a sibling, right? And you and your sibling live in the same house. You have a respect. You don't go in that sibling's room and they don't come in yours. The police bust your house and they find drugs and weapons in your sibling's room. You have no idea. I'm just sick of the hypocrisy. I'm sick of it, man. Because we all are so strong in our opinions until it impacts us. We're so strong to question things based on other people's questions without even giving people an opportunity. We're so quick to question another person's integrity with so little evidence. And in a small community, this is dangerous because it tells me that we're not thinkers. We don't think for ourselves. We're being told what to think. We're being told how to think. I am not responsible for what my sibling has in their room. So a property that is owned by a family that's connected. Okay, so my name's on a house in Bermuda. I live in Atlanta, and I'm responsible for everything on that property, even though I have no say or all it is my name on it. Folks, this stuff happens. The only red flags to me is the way that we respond to stuff like this. That's the red flag to me. The way that we run with stuff, how we don't digest stuff, how we don't even ask ourselves questions. That's what's red flags to me. That's what concerns me. Because at the end of the day, in this day of the internet and Elon Musk and Twitter, everything's news. So it's even more so up to us how we decipher information. You've got AI. We don't even know what's real or not anymore. Again, I'm not a journalist. I'm very clear about that. I discuss the news. I don't report it. I have conversations with people. I don't interview them. But I know my place. I know my lane. We've got to do better. We've got to do better. Seriously. And when I say we, the media and the community. Let's go to the audience. Dr. Anthony Richardson says, in a small community, it's very tempting to turn a story into gossip and sensation. Yeah, I tweeted something the other day. I basically tweeted something very similar, Dr. Anthony Richardson. I said, small communities love a little conspiracy, even when there's none to be found. But let me be clear. Let me be clear. I want to say this very clearly right now. I'm not saying the commissioner is guilty of anything. I'm not saying he's innocent of anything. Because at the end of the day, the commissioner is a human being. And I've said this before, and I'll say it for the rest of my existence. I put nothing past any human being. However, that said, I'm not just going to run with something because someone tells me something. Mama taught me to be a bit more responsible than that. All right. Shikarana says, I'm more concerned about who treated the wounds. Yeah, right? Nicole also says, yes and no, I work in the court. Some journalists do not report correctly at times. Okay. Shikarana says, who treated the wounds and under what conditions? WKD Lama says, Trevor is not a reporter. He provides a platform. I disagree. Trevor may not be a journalist, but he definitely is a reporter. He reports the news. He may not be a journalist, but he definitely reports the news. Amari Simon says, that's the problem with having entertainment and news in the same place. Everyone wants a story, not the news. Fair enough, Amari. Fair enough. Headley and Swan says, like I always say, small communities equal small minds. Well, again, I think when I was in college, I used to brag about Bermuda having one of the highest literacy rates in the world. Yeah, we did. I think we were up there with the Chinese, one of the highest literacy rates in the world. I want us to get back to that space where we are envied for our intellect, where we know we actually do read, we know how to read, but most of all, we know how to comprehend what we're reading. Let's give some love. Thanks again, folks. If you've appreciated discussion so far, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. We're going to show some love to Titan Express and Secure Trucking for ensuring that we can have these daily discussions with you on a daily basis. Then we'll bring Maya Palacio in for Daily Hour News Break. Don't forget, we got a big, important guest coming up, Blake Montgomery, a Bermudian root star on the rink. Yeah, looking forward to that conversation. Stick with us.
The Daily Discussion is brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Visit TitanEXBDA.com, your leading tour and transport provider specializing in Black History tours throughout the island. And SecureBDA.com for all your property management, waste management, residential, and commercial trucking needs. Professional, punctual, and reliable service is our commitment to you.
Yeah, alrighty. Charles H. Jefferson II says, I think Trevor asks valid questions as to why the property's connection to the commissioner wasn't practically revealed. That being said, I trust the commissioner. I absolutely agree, Charles. I think Trevor's questions were valid. What I don't think I agree with is how the report initially said, from my memory, that the commissioner resided on the property, not nearby, and gave people. We know what we're doing, right? And a reason to run with some sort of conspiracy, if that makes sense. That's the concern for me. All right, let's bring Maya Palacio in for the Daily Hour News Break. Don't forget, we've got Blake Montgomery, professional hockey player with Bermudian roots, coming up after the news break.
Good morning. Good morning.
Greetings, MP. How are you?
You know what? I'm feeling pretty good this morning. It's a very interesting discussion. I'm in the news and I'm reporting it daily to you guys as well. So it's something that very touches the soul as, what are our code of ethics? What do these things mean when it happens? And, again, we have this big obligation to the community, right? So it's been a lot of thinking on my end as well, listening to everyone.
Yeah, indeed. Well, according to results, 100% who answered the question this morning don't trust the media. So, well, that's one, the link and QR code, and understandably so. We're in a very interesting space. It's not an easy job, doing what we do. And I think in this era of, likes and views and followers and, just a social media age, people are willing to do whatever, right? They're legit willing to do whatever. But again, I don't think it's necessarily always on the entity. Sometimes it falls on the community. And I think as a community, we kind of need to do better. But questions were asked. Is there a code of ethics? And is there, we have a defunct media council. People have those questions.
It's something. I'll say that it's something, but I have never personally heard from them. There was a time when I was, introduced to it through the pandemic, when I started to do the press conferences, and I had to sign something on the media code. But I'm not gonna lie, it was very hard to get in contact with whomever was a part of the board with the guidelines that I had to follow with getting, I think it's like you have to get 2 other already accredited media sources to sign off on you. Then you send it in, and you kind of wait for them to have the meeting to confirm it. And someone did respond to me, but they never had the meetings to confirm it. They didn't get together. So when it just became like, days became weeks, and then I just had to print it off and sign that piece of paper. I recall going into the press conferences during the pandemic, because at that point, no one was getting back to me to confirm my accreditation for it. But since then, I have not been in communication, so I can say that very clearly. I will say though, to this story with Trevor, and maybe what's circulating through people's opinions, 3 things that I want to point out. Number one, for me in university, learning about when to have a source that's anonymous or not mention a source, but say that they're a credible source. That was something that we really couldn't do a lot of, at least speaking to our editors. So it was that has to be super solid, super tight in order to do that. And so you won't really hear me say that or use that on a regular for any story, because it's not something that, I was personally taught to do without really being able to name that person. So it really has to be something tight. And then that's what I had learned. And then also, when it comes to the story, though, we probably wouldn't even have this conversation or know about these things if Trevor didn't point it out to it. So even if we could talk about, obviously, code of ethics, how it's presented, but there are a lot of stories that wouldn't have come to light without news outlets like Trevor, even after getting further clarity. And my other last point was well, how long did he wait for that response? He did say that he sent all these questions to them. How long did he wait for that response to come back in order to make his story even more, juicier, not juicier, credible? Or,
I think, and I want to highlight that, as I said earlier, Trevor is necessary. Trevor is extremely necessary in this space in Bermuda, extremely necessary. And I think that's why I said, I think is as much on the community, how we take things. He's not telling people how to take things. He's not telling us to run with this. He may know that people will run with it, but he's not telling you what to do. He's literally found something out and he's asked questions. He's just letting you know that he's asked questions. But Maya made a very good point just now, which is saying, well, what was the timeline between Trevor asking the questions and the response? Because a journalist is only going to wait so long so they feel ignored and start to report.
There are a lot of instances, and we said it at our gala as well, and there was a whole panel about trying to reach out to it was mainly about government officials and not getting timely responses, which leads us to have to do lukewarm news, to put it that way, because we don't get responses back in a decent time for our broadcasts. So that was also a thing. And I think a lot of journalists on the island kind of fight tooth and nails with that. I know I did for a very long period, not presenting a lot of stories that I had in my archives, because I never got responses no matter how many follow-ups I sent. And at that point, the story is kind of flat, So there's that type of, I would say, struggle and imbalance as well.
This conversation could go on, but we do have a guest.
Yes. All right. So good morning, everyone. This is your Daily Hour News Break, brought to you by the good people at People's Pharmacy. Jamal, do you hear that?
No, I don't hear anything but you.
Okay, well, it sounds like your kitchen's kind of calling you because it wants to glow up. So from People's Pharmacy, you could get new cupboards and organizations to food storages. So go to them for any upgrades that you need to help upgrade your kitchen. So starting out your news break this morning, this is coming from the Bermuda Police Service, that a man was arrested after allegedly brandishing a firearm in Spanish Point dispute. So this happened shortly after 5 p.m. on Sunday, July the 6th. Police received a report that a male had brandished a firearm during a dispute with a female in the area of Spanish Point Park in Pembroke. Now, officers were immediately dispatched, and upon arrival, they were informed the suspect had left the location on a motorcycle in the company of another male. A description was provided, and a search for the suspect was immediately initiated. Now, he was subsequently located on Court Street in Pembroke. The 23-year-old male attempted to flee, but was apprehended following a short-foot chase. He was subsequently arrested and taken into custody, but no firearm was recovered. So the investigation on this incident is now underway, and anyone with the information is asked to call the main police number 295-0011.
Well then, glad no one was injured.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty serious.
Indeed, it very much so is. Now, moving on to your other piece of news. Last week on Thursday night, and let me know, audience, if any of you did get to go out there and attend, but the government, police, and policy stakeholders did engage in a conversation with residents on the completion of phase 1 of the new CCTV cameras across Bermuda. So you will recall the newly upgraded island-wide CCTV system is now fully operational with 225 cameras across 130 locations and is still growing. Now, speaking first was the Minister of National Security, the Honorable Michael Weeks.
The system is operated on a modern fiber network, bringing state-of-the-art technology to our shores. These cameras are not there to spy on people. They are there to support law enforcement and keeping our streets, our parks, our neighborhoods safe. They are an added tool to help deter crime and assist the police in solving serious incidents, including the gun and gang violence that has caused so much pain in our communities.
Now, speaking on logistics was the Commissioner of Police, Dan Simons, who gave a long overview on the system and also the 12 guidelines that were given to Bermuda from the UK that must be followed, as well as policies through Piper. So here's the last point that he really wanted to touch on for Bermuda.
All right, I'm just actually going to skip to the last bullet point there. It says that there are no covert installation of CCTV cameras. And what that means is all of the cameras are in plain sight. There are no hidden cameras in the CCTV system. And as time goes on, we are going to be putting signs that because obviously we don't all walk around with our head in the clouds, right? We walk around looking, and cameras aren't at eye level. So as you walk through the city, you're not going to see them. So we will be putting some signs on buildings, on poles, that at kind of eye level identify that a camera is in that area.
All right, closing up before I get your comments on it, I will say that yes, they talked a lot about privacy. There was a lot of questions about that all in conjunction. But when it came to the locations of these cameras, he also said that it's obviously expensive to put these up and that people have to really explain and give good reasonings as to why these cameras are going in certain locations. What do you think?
You know, I hate the fact that we have to do this. That this is the space we're in. But the truth is, our lives are surveilled so much already. Mm-hmm. That's just fact. Our phones, that location and everything in our phone is really not for us, we're already surveilled. So if you have a cell phone and it's on, whether you have location on or not, they know where you are. So yeah. I'll just leave it at that. I get people's concerns with, the CCTV everywhere, but they already know your whereabouts.
Mm-hmm. He went on to talk about where they're positioned, how they're not in private properties, and then what you talked about when it comes to phones. He also did make a mention of that too. And I don't want to speak of something I can't quite remember, but he did make mentions of phones and how they are able to pinpoint in some instances, so things like that. All right, so we're going to close out with some pretty big sports news right now, that the Bermuda relay team made history in the Barbados Grand Prix. So the Bermuda senior men's 4x100 meter relay team made a powerful statement at the 2025 Barbados Grand Prix over the weekend, so clocking a time of 40.41 seconds. Now, the team, made up of Noy Robinson, Denver Tucker, Sharice Black, and Miles Otterbridge, now holds the title of the second fastest 4x100 meter squad in Bermuda's history, trailing behind the legendary 1976 Olympic team that set the national record of 39.75. So literally so close, like seconds off of this record that was set back in 1976. So the performance marks a significant milestone for Bermuda's track and field program. And behind the scenes, much credit is being given to national coach and Olympian Devon Bean, whose leadership and long-term vision has helped cultivate a culture of discipline, hunger, and unity within this team. Now, overall sentiments from the coach, he left remarks saying that this is the first time that they have actually run together, noting that they have been traveling and training separately across the globe. So, the last couple of days before this run was the first time they actually got to practice those handoffs together. So it was recognized that this is just the beginning, and this team has a strong chance of breaking Bermuda's national record.
Congratulations to them. Congratulations to them. That's wonderful. I think I pulled a hamstring watching that video, though.
It was a fast race. Everyone was pretty much moving in that. But for the first attempt, as a team together, it's looking pretty optimistic. I'll say, looking optimistic.
How's the weather looking?
Weather's looking like a mix of sun and clouds and increasing showers potentially in the afternoon. So a little less optimistic there, as the humidity is going to be pretty high. We got another temperature of 88 degrees, almost hitting the 90s.
All righty. Just want to give a big shout out to our business partner, Keitha Kane, and Pastor Dwayne Keynes. They celebrated their 9th anniversary yesterday. Congratulations to them. 9 years. Maya, have you ever been to Waffle House?
What a big jump. I thought you were going to ask me a totally different question. No, I have not been to Waffle House.
So the only thing I knew about Waffle House is what I see on the internet, like people fighting at Waffle House every day or whatnot. But my little sister came to visit me this past weekend, and we went to Waffle House, and I don't eat breakfast food. So it's my first time, her first time. And people are laughing. I'm like, well, first off, I don't go where I'm going to fight, right? It makes no sense. I want to eat. And number two, I thought they just had bacon and like pancakes and waffles. Anyway, I went there, and the staff, the nicest staff I've ever met is at Chick-fil-A. The second nicest, Waffle House. They were so nice. So big up to Waffle House. And it's all about the time of day you go. You got to go at the right time. Don't go after the nightclub, I guess, because there were no fights. Everybody was cool, waiting their turn. All right. But we got to do a Days of the Year, don't we? Real quickly, Days of the Year. Maya, today we've got Be a Kid Again today. So be a kid again today. If you could be a kid again today, what would you want to do, audience? If you could be a kid again today, what would you want to do? Maya, you're closest to being a kid again.
I would play field hockey again with like the less worries about my back and my knees. That's what I would do. I'll just smash the ball and score so many goals. Yeah.
Okay. If I could be a kid again, I would face reality sooner and realize that I was never going to be 6'5" and make it to the NBA. So I would have focused more. Why are you laughing at me?
It wasn't obvious back then.
Wow. I would focus more on learning about investing. I know that sounds like, and like, why would a child do that? But hey, I know children who are actually doing that.
It's good advice.
I would learn about stuff like that. Playing house, Hadley Swan said. Playing house. WK Muhammad said, play football with Village Miners again. All right. Yeah. What else, audience? What else? All right, Maya, we got to go. We've got Blake Montgomery coming up. You have a wonderful day.
You too. Have a great conversation, everyone.
All right. We've got Maya Palacio. Folks, if you've appreciated the discussion so far, whether you're streaming on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, X, or Instagram, do us a favor, give us a like, love, follow, share the link with your friends, your family, your colleagues. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with our very special guest of the day, Blake Montgomery, a professional hockey player with Bermudian roots. Stick with us.
Let's face it, life can be a little wild, but shopping doesn't have to be. I choose Peoples, so that whether it's a prescription that needs to be filled, a toy for my little terror, or a gift for a new addition to the family, we'll see about that. Everything's available in one convenient location. Some call it Peoples. I call it my one-stop shop in the city. Peoples, we're here for you.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
Hi there, welcome to Medical House. We're located at number 6 Bakery Lane. I can't wait to show you all of the great stuff that we carry. Come on inside, let's see. Long days, long shifts, you no longer have to endure comfortable underwear. Designed by nurses, we now offer premium undergarments by Swoop that are unique, fun, comfortable, and functional. The only underwear you'll ever want to wear. Who says high-quality functional products can be stylish and comfortable at the same time?
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
96 degrees, real hot, oh yes.
Summer's heating up, but your home, it can chill. BAC is turning down the heat with 20% off Carrier X-Power mini split AC units. They're sleek, whisper quiet, and smart thanks to energy-saving inverter technology. New install, upgrade, doesn't matter. Just don't miss out. For a limited time, get 20% off when you pay with cash, credit, or debit.
96 degrees, real hot.
Swing by BAC on Mill Creek Road today.
Bermuda holidays are a time when we celebrate our community, traditions, and the beauty of Bermuda. HSBC is deeply rooted in the community and proud once again to be the lead sponsor of Cup Match. Somerset! St. George's!
St. George's!
Whether you're heading east to watch Cup Match in person or spending time camping, boating, swimming, or simply relaxing, no matter which team you choose, Cup Match is one of the most spectacular and energizing events, bringing the entire island together in celebration of Emancipation Day and Mary Prince Day. Wishing all of Bermuda a happy Cup Match from HSBC, and may the best team win.
Somerset! St. George's!
HSBC, opening up a world of opportunity.
Discover Drop It, your go-to grocery delivery. Browse and select from a wide range of groceries, from fresh produce to daily essentials. Our friendly drivers deliver fresh groceries to your door fast, saving you time and hassle. With Drop It, you get fresh groceries delivered fast, so you can focus on what really matters. Drop It, freshness at your doorstep, delivered to your door with Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
Alrighty, welcome back to the big show. Jamal Hartman here. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindo's, People's Pharmacy, and a big thank you to HSBC for ensuring that we are able to pump the radio airwaves on Hot 107.5 with these most important community conversations. Please do not forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. All right. Without further ado, let's bring on a very special guest for the morning. He's a champ. He's a champ, and we're going to speak about that. A champion, like championship reign champion. He has Bermudian roots. Most Bermudians, well, you heard Maya. She'd go back to playing hockey. She meant field hockey. We don't find many Bermudians on the ice. We are excited to welcome Blake Montgomery. Let's give him a warm TDH welcome to the show, folks. Morning, Blake. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Wonderful, wonderful. First off, thank you for your patience. Thank you for your patience.
Of course.
Thanks for rocking with us. I'm excited, man. I'm excited because some people don't know, but as I told you before you came on earlier, that I actually maybe left one of my most recent jobs too soon because Since then, they've won 2 championship rings, being the Florida Panthers, who are the NHL champions. And it was a unique experience. I love sports, follow sports, but I remember when I was offered the job for the Florida Panthers, I didn't even know they were an NHL team because I was a Bruins guy as a child. So that's how far back I went. It's exciting to have this conversation with you, especially having been in that space, and really understanding and learning your journey. So thank you for joining us. But before we even get into the conversation, we asked just now, it's Be a Kid Again Day, right? If you could be a kid again, Blake, what would you want to do?
Oh, if I could be a kid again, what would I want to do? It's a tough one. There's a lot. Probably simply just riding my bike around with my buddies around like the neighborhood, just kind of soaking that in. No cares in the world, nothing matters, you know.
Okay.
Just
Yeah.
simplicity in that.
Okay, that makes sense, because as an adult, responsibilities, you know, that comes with responsibility, and those can definitely take away our peace at times. All right, just ride around, hang with your buddies. Sounds about right. But Blake, let's begin this. Obviously, you have Bermudian roots. When you were born outside of Bermuda, you would come back to Bermuda. Just share with Bermuda a bit about your background, like your story, prior to even getting to the hockey.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So my dad was from St. Paul, Minnesota, and then he got recruited by the CIA or something, which brought him over to the DC, Maryland area, which is where he fell in love with. So me and my brother were born here. So grew up in Bowie, Maryland, you know, pretty decent town, you know, good people around, but mainly growing up, we spent a lot of the summers on the island in Bermuda with my mom and pop-pop's side. So we try to get there every summer outside of hockey. And then once things kind of ramped up, we started to get there a bit less. But yeah, mainly started out in Maryland, and, you know, I took it from there.
All righty, Maryland. All right. But there's Bermuda summers. So ice hockey, right? It's not something someone with Bermudian roots would gravitate toward normally. How did your journey begin? Like, how did you get into ice hockey?
My father. So he did play hockey. He started when he was about 12 or 13. So that's pretty late to start in the sport. Most guys, when you start playing hockey, they start right around 4 or 5. So he had a bit of a harder path going through it. So he went through college, had a good college career. He was a 2-time All-American, and he's in their Hockey Hall of Fame there. And then, yeah, after that, it seemed he must have somehow kept it around, you know, growing up. So me and my brother, you know, we fell in love with it at a young age. I started skating when I was 4 or 5. He started skating around the same age. So at that age, it's just all fun and love of the sport, and then just going through it for your whole life.
Mm-hmm. You know, I said earlier, you know, if I could go back in time, I'd, you know, come to terms that I was not going to be 6'5" and make it to the NBA, and Maya just made fun of me. But I say that because so many young children, you know, they're involved in sport or dance or something, and they don't really take it to professional stages. I mean, it's not the norm, I should say, right?
Yeah.
What kept you going? What kept you and your brother going so that you could actually make it to that space?
Yeah. I would say just mainly the love of the game. Like for most of it, you know, what I would say is if you're going to do anything in life, you better be sure it's what you want to do, because it's just going to be that much harder if you don't love what you do. So just having a love of the sport, you know, it's just an automatic motivation. And with that, you know, the support of my mom, dad, and my whole family, and, you know, even having Bermuda behind me at this point. So just a lot of outside sources and personal motivation just to keep you going and get to that end goal of hopefully playing in the NHL.
Indeed. And audience, I'll get to your questions. If you have any questions or comments, you can send them through. You came to Bermuda during the summers. What role, if any, did having Bermudian roots play in shaping your mindset and determination as an athlete?
I would say it just gave me a different perspective on, you know, the season and off season, because going to Bermuda, it's obviously not going to be heavy on ice training or off ice training for me. I just looked at it as keeping a good balance, just taking a step back, from the sport and even life, just using the island as a hard reset to just get my mind right and body and just be ready to go back and fully get after it.
Indeed. That's quite the off season. The road to going pro in anything is not easy. It's definitely not easy. I mean, even just finishing college and finding a job that you really want to do in an industry you really want to work in, it's not easy. What were some of the biggest challenges you faced along the way, and how did you overcome them?
Mainly the biggest challenges I would say I faced was just kind of personal doubt, compared to, maybe my age group or other players, because growing up, everyone's path will be different. So some guys were committing to school early. I didn't get drafted in my first draft year. I went in my second. So that was a bit tough for me to watch it. My whole age group get drafted, not me. And then just kind of little things like that. But at the end of the day, in the moment, looking back on it, I just knew all I could do was worry about myself. And then sure enough, I think it worked out pretty well now. So just got to keep taking it from here.
Well, we live in an age where the term representation matters is big, right? Seeing your Bermudian professional player, I don't like the term, but of color. What does it mean to you when you see yourself out on ice, knowing that historically or traditionally you're kind of a minority in the sport?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I definitely say I am a minority in the sport, just looking around on every team and places I've been and all the teams I've been on. But I'd say mainly just it's special. I mean, the chance that I could potentially be a role model for young kids from, say, Maryland or even Bermuda as, a Black player, because there is not many. It is growing. It is growing fast, too, I would say, the Black or minority hockey community. But to be able to set an example and show them that anyone can do it is pretty special.
Yeah. Blake, you're a champion. And this makes me happy, because I remember when I walked into the Florida Panthers organization, and hockey, so the audience is going to get what I'm saying, but the Panthers were pretty much the Los Angeles Clippers of the NHL. And what I mean by that, the Los Angeles Clippers under Donald Sterling in the NBA in the 90s and early 2000s were pretty much lottery. Like, they were bound to lose every season, worst record in the NBA. Yeah. The Florida Panthers, when I started working there in 2018, I was told stories how they would give away tickets to attend games. Florida's not a hockey town. My boss said, "Oh, we'll never win a championship. Oh, we're just here to make up the numbers in the NHL," and so on. And they had a young CEO, Matt Caldwell, who was very engaging. I had great conversations with him, and he was intent on turning the organization around. People left the organization in droves, and the Panthers have won the last two NHL championships, I believe, or 2 in 3 years. Mm-hmm. And before that, it was the Tampa Bay Lightning, who have also basically Florida has become Hockey Town USA, yeah, right?
They've been dominating,
right? And saying that, I'm trying to explain how hard winning a championship is. It's like winning a gold medal in the Olympics. You won a championship recently. Speak to us about the league you play in, the championship you won, and what it means to you as an individual, but your team and your growth in the sport.
Yeah, absolutely. So the league I won was the CHL, and then also as long as the Ontario Hockey League. So played for the London Knights in London, Ontario, and then so to wrap it all up, like, play your whole season, you got playoffs. It's just 7-game series, and then so you got to win the OHL, which sure enough we ended up winning. And then after winning the OHL, the CHL is made up of 3 different leagues. So you got the OHL, the QMJHL, and then the WHL. Mm. So these are 3 separate leagues, and then there's one final tournament. They call it the Memorial Cup, and it's just a 1 game, do or die. Like, there's a 3-game round robin, and then semifinals, and then championship. And then sure enough, we went through it and got to win in that final game, which, wins the whole Canadian Hockey League. So it's crazy to even say right now coming out of my mouth, but we really did get it done. So,
wow. Congratulations, man. I honestly, that's huge. And, let's go to the audience real quickly. We've got quite a few questions. Nika DeShield says, hockey was created by Blacks in Canada. Fun fact. Canada's great basketball too. Thank you for that. We've got Mark Arthur C. Phillips. He's asking, Blake, who is a player you emulate your game after?
It's funny you asked that. It's another Black player who plays on the LA Kings, Quentin Byfield. He's also a tall, rangy, quick power forward who I think I see a lot of myself in.
Okay. He's also asking, who was your favorite player growing up? Is that someone different?
Ovechkin, right in the hometown, DC. Alexander Ovechkin.
Capitals. I mean, I think he just broke Gretzky's record this year.
He sure did.
Yep. Boy, folks, if you don't know hockey, trust me. I took my dad and stepmom to a game right before the pandemic, February 2020, right before all hell broke loose. And my father was into it. You don't want to sit too close to the ice because we used to sit right down close because it's so fast. It will give you whiplash. But I always said of the top 4 sports in North America, which is NFL, professional, American football, baseball, which I'm a big fan of, basketball, and hockey actually, and I'm not saying this just because Blake's here, hockey requires the most skill because first you have to know how to skate. That in itself is a sport, just the skating part. Then you have to know how to play hockey, right? Then, wait for it, Blake, you have to know how to fight. It's like 3 sports in one, right? Let's go to my Palacio asking, do you have any suggestions on how Bermuda can better build better pathways for athletes with big dreams? Should athletes leave the island for real progress?
I think it depends on, the sport. Say it's a Bermudian who really generally wants to pursue ice hockey, then yes, I would probably recommend leaving the island. But I don't, for just other sports in general, like basketball or soccer or cricket, like I don't know those, those pathways, if leaving the island would be best for them or staying and maybe just getting the coverage they need to, get out there. But for hockey, I would say it would be best to probably get out the island because I don't think there's any rinks yet. I don't know how those would hold up quite well, but yeah.
All righty. We've got another question. Charles H. Jeffers II, he's asking, what would it mean to see your name on Lord Stanley's Cup one day? Would you bring it to Bermuda for your day with the cup?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it would mean a lot. It would mean, I don't even know honestly how much it would mean to me because it just seems so surreal and such a hard thing to achieve. But definitely, of course, I would have to bring it to the island. I would have to bring it to see all the family and anyone who else wants to come.
Indeed. My Palacio is asking, how do people react when you mention your Bermudan roots? And what is your go-to hype song if you have one?
People are shocked, and honestly, mostly when I tell people I am of Bermuda roots, a lot of people honestly don't know. They're just like, the Bermuda Triangle or something, like, just kind of shocked. I'm like, no, like just telling them what it is and where it comes from, the connection. And then my go-to hype song, probably Turn My Swag On by Soulja Boy.
All right, cool. We'll see you. Karen Edwards Simmons, she says, congratulations, Blake. I always thought you would play basketball like your mom, Kimberly Robinson. I remember when you were shorter than me. Not hard, though, smile. Family. Blake, there are so many young people, Bermudians in particular, who aspire to compete in sports at the highest level. What advice would you give to someone about following their path, even if it seems unconventional?
Biggest thing I would say is, because I would say maybe my path would be considered unconventional, is just focus on yourself and only what you can do. Like another thing I'd say is just control what you can control, because a lot of the stuff in your path is simply going to be out of your control. So all I can say is just focus on how hard you can work and showing up every day, because you're going to get as far as you believe you can get yourself. So just be in the mindset that you can get there.
One of the things that Florida had to contend with is obviously people didn't see him as a hockey town. I mean, you had more fans of like Montreal Canadiens and other teams in Florida than you did local fans when I had started at the Florida Panthers. And so what they did was they developed a community approach. Let's get more young people involved in hockey. We don't have ice in Bermuda. We don't have, we have field hockey, which Maya plays and the like. You're far from done. Like, you're young, you're just getting to it. But one day, how do you believe you can, develop some sort of relationship to actually create a pathway for young people who may have something that they don't see? Because growing up in Bermuda, I could tell you 99% of kids, they don't see themselves on ice playing because they don't do it. There's no opportunities in Bermuda. Is this something you think that you and your brother and family might say, you know what, let's have a camp in Bermuda this summer or this winter, how it goes? Like, how do you think you can develop the interest in a community like Bermuda?
I think simply just the action of, maybe starting the process, like maybe at some point down the line after our careers, or even sooner possibly, just giving it a go and maybe seeing how it goes, because obviously getting a rink up and going would be tough in the heat, especially in the Bermuda heat, but just maybe finding ways around it, and then just, finding people who would be interested, because it seems like we do get a lot of support as hockey players from Bermuda. So I think just maybe just having some career achievements or just bringing it back, and maybe just for them to see in person could show a little more interest in the sport and maybe bring some wanting to pursue it.
Indeed. Well, you have another fan, Charles H. Jefferson II. He says, let's root for that to happen one day. You bringing the Stanley Cup to Bermuda. He says, you have a new fan in me. Let's bring the Stanley Cup to Bermuda. Blake, let people know, how can we as Bermudians support a son of the soil? How can we support you? Where are your home games going to be? Let us know your schedule. When does the season start? We want to get out there and make sure that Blake knows he has an entire country behind him.
Yeah. So next season, I will be attending Wisconsin-Madison, playing for the Badgers, their men's hockey team there. So I'll be honest, we actually do not have our season schedule yet, which is surprising, but I know it starts in October. And then, so this year it'll be a quicker season, about 30-some games. And then hopefully, my team and we will get to the NCAA tournament. And then that's the big one. So hopefully we get there and we can have all the support we can get.
The Badgers. All right. It's going to be cool. One last question. How is it being in Canada versus, somewhere like DC?
Very different. Very different. Just culturally, living wise, and just even the people around, just completely different places. Like I'd say, just even just from going around, just from greetings with people, like in Canada, you'll be getting greeted by someone, oh, good morning, same as Bermuda, and well, and out here you might just get a dirty look just cause, but that it's just, different places and different mindsets, but I love them both.
All right. Blake, I know you've been, outside the U.S., outside of Bermuda in the U.S., but you do go to Bermuda summertime. And I usually start off asking this question of a guest, but I didn't want to ruin what I felt was going to develop into a great conversation and possibly friendship. But I got to ask you this question. Who's your cup match team?
Oof. Can I be honest? I'll be honest. Like the last one I went to, I was young and I didn't know who won, and I was just sprinting on the field. So
you sound like Teo.
for me, I'm just there to enjoy the game and enjoy the company. So I can't pick. I don't want to make any enemies.
So here's what we're gonna do, Blake. We're gonna welcome you into St. George's. We're gonna welcome Blake is officially. We're gonna welcome him into St. George's. We're gonna put the president of St. George's, Michelle Painter, on the spot and let him know that please have something set up for Blake, our future Stanley Cup champ. to enjoy Cup Match this year. And if anyone sees Richard Scott in the comments, president of Somerset, tell him we've already taken Blake on our side. But no, I'm glad you get to enjoy it and you've actually experienced it before in your life. Blake, I don't know when you will next be in Bermuda, but please make it known so that we all can show you appreciation. And once your schedule's out, please feel free to email it. And if anyone in our audience is available and able to support you, I'm sure we will. But thank you so much to your mom, Dr. Robinson, to yourself for making yourself available and engaging with us this morning. Looking forward to having more chats with you, Blake.
Thank you, and looking forward to it as well.
All right, Blake Montgomery. Man, really appreciate it. Well, the St. George's fans are in the crowd for Blake. Welcome to St. George's, Sesh Russell and Famous. Karen Edward Simmons says, Blake, you stay in the East when you're in Bermuda. St. George's it is for college. My goodness, we've got up St. George's. A lot of Somerset fans are missing today, folks. Folks, if you appreciated that conversation with Blake, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share it with your friends, your family, your colleagues. We're going to take our final break, come back, wrap this conversation up today, and we've got the daily play for you. I want to see who gets this Remember When. Stick with us. Be back in a few. In the meantime, show us some love, whatever platform you are on.
Dreaming of expanding your business? With BDC's Loan Guarantee Program, we support your ambitions. Get up to 75% guarantee on bank or credit union loans up to $300,000. Just your vision and our support. Apply today and unlock new business opportunities. BDC, Bermuda business starts here.
Considering the increasing challenges faced by financial institutions, the need for insurance protection is a critical component of the risk management framework. At Friesenbrook, our priority is to safeguard your assets with the most optimal, cost-effective risk management cover to help protect your business, whether it be cyber, directors and officer liability, professional indemnity, or property insurance. Call us on 296-3600 to learn more about our full suite of competitive corporate insurance products. At Friesenbrook, we provide insurance you can count on.
Get ready for the Emancipation Edition, an evening of powerful voices and vibrant culture. Presented by Sankofa Bermuda and Curb, this event brings short, impactful conversations on history, culture, and community. Join us Thursday, July 10th from 6 to 8:30 p.m. at BUEI. Tickets are just $35 and available now at ptix.bm. Come curious, leave inspired, and don't forget to bring cash for our amazing vendors. Let's educate, inspire, and challenge together.
Looking for the best care for your pets? Nova's Ark Feed and Supply has everything you need, from top quality foods to toys and supplies. We've got it all. Join our frequent buyer program and earn rewards every time you shop. Plus, we've been awarded the Clever Customer Initiative program for helping you save more. And don't forget, we open an hour early on Saturdays so you can get a head start on your pet care. Visit us today or shop online for easy pickup or delivery. Your pets will thank you.
At Umami, we don't just sell spices, we spark something bigger. We believe food isn't just fuel, it's connection, it's tradition, it's joy. Our dream? To help you eat better, love louder, and maybe even start a little food revolution. One home-cooked, flavor-packed meal at a time. Because cooking isn't just a chore, it's an act of love. Umami Spice. Gather, cook, connect.
All righty, welcome back to the Big Show. Thanks again to Blake Montgomery for joining us this morning. Awesome conversation, folks. Again, whatever platform you're streaming on Facebook, the LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter X, Instagram, just please give us a like, love, follow, share the conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. It's not every day we get to speak with a professional hockey player with Bermudian roots. So awesome young person who is, about to achieve even greater things than he's done already. But it's time for the Daily Play. Brought to you, thanks again to the HSBC BAC group, Medical House, Linda's People's Pharmacy. But it's time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. All right, audience, are you ready? It's a Remember When. This is an easy question, seriously. I hope everyone knows this. During which World War did Bermuda serve as a key British naval base in the Atlantic? Thank you, Jewel Eve. Thank you. Thank you, Stacey Ann Brown, and thank you, Rosalind Famous, and thank you, Dr. Anthony Richardson. It is World War II. I was just hoping no one said the Civil Rights War in the United States, the Civil War in the United States. But yeah, it was World War II. All right, let's wrap it up, folks. As far as the conversation earlier about trust in the media and what Trevor had done, as I said, I believe Trevor is extremely necessary. Without Trevor, our community would not know a lot of things. I appreciate Trevor and TNN, but that doesn't mean that, you know, we cannot disagree with those we love and appreciate. And I think that we have a responsibility to hold those we love and appreciate accountable. Did Trevor necessarily do anything wrong? That depends on perspective. Did he ask valid questions based on what he shared? Yes. But as I said, I think the responsibility also falls on us, the community. It's okay for us to ask questions of the media. Why is it that when we do ask questions or we have comments, the Royal Gazette doesn't respond or TNN doesn't respond? The Daily Hour probably doesn't respond. That's part of holding us accountable. If not, it's one way, right? You are the drivers of engagement. So feel free to ask questions of the questions that are being asked. But it's very dangerous for us and hypocritical of us to continue to take things and develop these theories of people and things and groups and organizations simply because it makes us feel good. It's irresponsible on our behalf. And we have to do better. We've got to do better. So often say the children are watching. As far as the conversation with Blake Montgomery, I'm inspired. I appreciate some of the questions, especially the one about asking about pathways for Bermudian athletes who want to aspire and grow and be successful in their sport. I think many of those who have been successful have had to do a lot of their training beyond Bermuda. I hope that we grow to appreciate what Blake has accomplished so far, and with our support, what else he can accomplish. When we see one of our own doing great things, trust me, it feels good to them for us to support them. So I wish him all the best on his journey. As Charles H. Jefferson II, he said, got a new fan in us. All right. All right. I've got to give you some daily inspiration so that I don't make you all late for work. So let's go with this. I was talking to a mentor friend the other day, and he asked me a question. He said, who determines your legacy? I said, truth is, it's not us. Here's your quote of the day. How people choose to remember you is beyond your control. So focus on how you decide to live. Folks, it has been a pleasure. Again, Don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindo's, People's Pharmacy, and HSBC for ensuring that we're able to pump through the radio airwaves on Hot 107.5 with these important community conversations. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. I'm Jamel Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day. We are Izelle. Peace.